Hi there, this is day 3 of my video blog here at this conference in Mogiła in Krakow. This is Saturday the 16th of November. It's the last day of the conference, and today's theme will be to the whole world. Now yesterday, which is really what I'm reporting back on, was a very exciting day. Yesterday's theme was the whole body. There's been quite a lot of placards around the place here as I've been on the way to the conference and around the conference hall. There's a sign that says, "Don't do alone what we can do together." And really the theme of yesterday was very much, how can we work together? How can the whole body, that is within the Catholic Church and also with other denominations, how can it work together? Clergy and lay, different denominations, and it's been really exciting hearing the main speakers. Ulf Ekman from Sweden and Father Peter Hocken were the main morning speakers, and they really opened up the need for the Church to recognise the role of the laity and also the need for the recognition of the gifts of evangelists in bringing the kerygma. Father Peter in particular was very direct. Father Peter is a Catholic theologian, so he can say a lot of things very clearly from the official documents of the Catholic Church that highlight the fact that the Catholic Church has been enabling and empowering the laity to be involved in evangelism. And it was very, very clear that there needs to be a release of the people of God, all of the people of God, clergy, laity, all denominations, that they should be released into their calling in order to get the whole job done that Jesus has brought to the whole world. There was also a very good panel discussion afterwards in which Father Peter and Ulf were included, but also Bruce Clud of YWAM, who's been working here for a long time, others on that panel as well, and including the priest who has responsibility for ecumenical relations in Krakow, who was answering questions too. So it was a great panel discussion, and the last question was what most stops us, particularly with reference to the ecumenical aspect, what most stops us from coming together. And it was interesting that all of the speakers on the panel had the same answer: fear and pride stops us coming together. For me, the highlight of yesterday was being able to share my testimony at the seminar in the afternoon. Ulf Ekman took the first part of the seminar and really just laid out the need for us to be working together across the traditions and how important that is. And then I had the privilege of sharing, and I took the chance this time. I felt that God was really challenging me, that this is the time to do something, to take a step to be closer to people than I've been. And so I gave my testimony without interpreter. I did it in Polish direct, had it already written out, and it was quite scary. It was quite a challenge, but actually the warmth and the reception that was given to me, and the sense of listening was just overwhelming. And at the end, there was just such a sense of being received and of being welcomed, and I was very, very moved. It was a powerful moment for me, and actually as I came down from the podium there, one of my friends was sitting at the side just weeping, and I just went and gave him a hug, and we just held each other for a few minutes. My testimony basically was how I went from being a teenager who was systematically taught to hate Catholics and systematically taught that they were going to hell, through a journey that now sees me here, seeking to assist this ministry of reconciliation. There was a lot of talk yesterday in the conference about the need for reconciliation, that reconciliation is part of the gospel. And so I found myself there just yesterday, having done this journey, having gone from this place of hatred of Catholics through to a place not only of love for Catholic brothers and sisters and others of other traditions, but seeking actively to bring us together and to find ways to be as close as we can be to one another. And then yesterday evening there was a celebration at the Mogiła Abbey Church, and again it was packed, about 2,000 people, and the highlight of yesterday was that there were about 4 bishops there. I lost count of where everyone was from. But among those bishops, including Bishop Gregory, who's been looking after us here at the conference, who was presiding, also there was Bishop Sandy Miller from Holy Trinity Brompton. He just arrived yesterday, and so he was one of the bishops sitting up on the podium, on the platform at the front. And also there was the auxiliary bishop of Krakow, and I think another bishop from the Eastern tradition. I think that's where he was from. But last night we basically looked at the call for the whole body. Or the Lutheran pastor who was with me the night before last was also there last night, as representing the wider body, the non-Catholic traditions. And Pastor Ulf Ekman was also there as well, because he gave a teaching. And last night we had the opportunity to renew our baptismal vows, and that was a very moving ceremony, because we were able together to say, I resist the devil, and I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in the Holy Spirit, and I believe in the church. And it was just exciting to do that together. And we all had candles. In fact, I've got mine here. This is the candle we were all given. We all had a candle that we lit in the really what was an Easter tradition, and the Paschal candle was actually used to light all of our candles from. And everyone in the church had this little candle as a symbol of the light of Christ coming to us. And it was very wonderful and moving service, and the music was wonderful. And at the end, something fantastic happened. Sanita and the musicians from En Cristo, my friends who I meet in Lance Corona, were leading the worship last night, and they led us in worship at the end. And at one point, the whole thing just took off into singing in the Spirit, singing in tongues. And I was so surprised, because it was a packed church of 2,000 people from all different movements and different expressions of the Catholic tradition. And suddenly the Holy Spirit was just there, and it was an amazing moment. I was just really moved. And I was in a side chapel, actually. The church was so full that they'd relayed part of it to a side chapel. And that was just amazing to see the numbers of people who were involved and being touched by the Holy Spirit. So I also had a great time yesterday with folks from Slovakia. It was a total surprise to me that they were going to be here, and so we had the chance to have supper together last night and catch up on their news, which was really precious. And I think the thing that came out of that, actually, in my chat with Bohush, it was lovely to see Bohush again and Alena, and we were chatting just about how different things are to how they were 10 or 20 years ago in Poland. The fact that there's such an openness to engage with one another across the traditions, and to engage with what the Holy Spirit is doing in the church. And it's just it seems like something has changed, something new is happening. So just really grateful to God for that, and excited for the next phase of what God's doing, not just in Poland, but I think in Europe, across the continent. And reconciliation is such an important theme. And just in closing here, because I realise I've been talking for a while, but just in closing, one of the things that hit me yesterday was that I had not felt that sense of the power of the Holy Spirit since we were in Warsaw together in 1993 at the conference with John Wimber in the big Sala Kongresowa in Warsaw. And I just sensed something was happening in the spiritual realm, and that was quite, it took me aback. I hadn't expected for there to be such a sense of God's presence. But then we were in the Abbey Church, they said, where John Paul II in 1979, on his first visit back to Poland, called for this new evangelization, for this renewal of the message of Jesus. And it was just amazing to see that happening in that place, that the Holy Spirit is coming and doing something wonderful among us. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm getting ready to go to today's session, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to tell you more. And tomorrow is going to be interesting, because tomorrow morning we have breakfast with Cardinal Archbishop Dziwisz, and we're going to give him an update on what's been happening in the conference. So it'll be great to see him again, and also great to have a summary of the conference.